Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a very good day. For today's video, I'm here to do another Top 5 Wednesday, and this series was created by Lainey at gingerreadslainey. This series is open to anyone who wants to participate, so I'll leave the Goodreads group link in the description box below. For this week's topic, it is your top 5 favorite genres, and so let's get started with my top 5 list. Starting off with number 5, I'll have to give it to horror. Sweet, lovely horror. You know, I was hooked ever since reading Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz and Stephen Gamble. He's the illustrator who terrified the shit out of me, and ever since then I was hooked. Some of my favorite books within the genre include the recent Lock and Key graphic novel series by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez, also short stories by Richard Matheson, who wrote I Am Legend, and of course the Monstermologist series by Rick Yancey, which is a young adult horror series. What I love about the series in general is the atmosphere that Rick Yancey creates. It kind of has that classic gothic horror vibe to it, which I absolutely adore. Making number 4, I'll have to give it to historical fiction. It's definitely a recent favorite of mine ever since reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, also A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. I would say my favorite time period would have to be the 19th century, so 1800s to 1900. I was first blown away while reading Pride and Prejudice. I didn't realize how relatable and identifiable the characters were. I didn't realize how dramatic things could be during that time period. I thought it would be super boring, but no. Making number 3 on my list, I'll have to give it to the dystopian genre. What I love most about the dystopian genre is the world building. I absolutely love how terrifying society has become and how the people have to deal with it. I love how intriguing and suspenseful and thought-provoking dystopians can be. Some of my favorites, of course, include The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, Unwind by Neil Shusterman, and of course my favorite, 1984 by George Orwell. Making number 2 on my list, which is really different, shoujo manga. If you're not familiar, manga is Japanese comic, and shoujo is a genre that appeals to girls more often than not. It has love and romance stories within. There's a lot of cliches, it's super cheesy, love triangles galore. I absolutely love it. I don't know why, I don't know. Some of my favorites include Ouran High School Host Club, which is a high school romantic comedy, which is a very popular genre. There's of course the classic Sailor Moon, which is a fantasy action shoujo manga, and another recent favorite of mine is Hajime Mashite Kame-sama, which is a paranormal romance series. A lot of these series I haven't finished because there's so many volumes to these stories, but the hook at the beginning of the shoujo manga is strong. Making number 1 on my list, guys, I'll have to give it to the fantasy genre. I adore fantasy. If you challenge me to read fantasy all year, I would do it with no complaint. There's high fantasy, there's low fantasy, there's urban fantasy. I'm definitely an escapist reader, so fantasy is my jam. Some of my favorites include Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is high fantasy. You have A Song of Ice and Fire series, which is low fantasy. A recent favorite of mine is Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, which is fantasy combined with science fiction elements, which I absolutely adore. So those are my top 5 genres, guys. Let me know in the comments below what are your favorite genres and the books within those genres. If you have any recommendations from my favorite genres, let me know in the comments below, please. Thank you. Anyways, guys, I will talk to you later and have a very good one. Bye.